If you believe that a man lived in the belly of a fish for 3 days, you can be sold anything. And many people are sold anything because of this belief when it comes to their beliefs. But one thing that was very interesting when I posted this on my Facebook page yesterday is some of the comments, and I want to talk about a couple of the comments that were posted. The first funny thing that somebody posted was, Jacob said, simple. A man was swallowed by a humpback whale he was a lobster guy up in Maine, I believe. He was swallowed in the mouth of a humpback whale. Now here's the thing. That is your proof that a man can live in the belly of a fish for 3 days, the belly of a whale for 3 days. But here's the thing. I went and I looked at that story. See, when you can't put a story out there and think that I'm not going to go and look at it when you're saying something as ludicrous as this. So when I went and I looked at the story, the man was out there lobster fishing with his cages, jumped in the water, got swallowed in the mouth of a humpback whale. A humpback whale's throat is only about 15 inches wide. So therefore, the humpback whale cannot swallow a man into his belly. Being irritated by the man being in the humpback whale's mouth, thankfully for this man, the humpback whale came to the surface and spit the man out. Oh, just like God said he spit him out on the beach of Nineveh. Yes. No. The man was only in the mouth of the whale for a few minutes and he was spat out. But that caused me to do a little bit more research. So the only whale that could swallow a person is a sperm whale. And there's a tall tale of a man down in the Falkland Islands. He was out and he was swallowed by a sperm whale as they were trying to kill the whale. The man was only in the belly of the fish for a few hours. And when they pulled the man out, his skin had become white like a ghost. And the acid inside of the belly of the whale had nearly blinded the man. But unfortunately, this story cannot be corroborated. So, it is all of high tales of the sea. But then I went and did some more research. And in that research, I came to realize that if a person was actually swallowed by a whale, most whales, upon after they take that breath, they dive down. And a whale will dive down around about 50 kilometers deep. At those depths, the whale's body began to contract, and so will the man inside the whale. The pressure would cause that man to die. And then when the whale resurfaces, 10, 15 minutes later, some whales can dive a lot longer, then the man is surely dead. Dead, dead, dead. If not for the stomach acid, the crushing of diving down that deep would kill the man. So that's not going to happen. And then someone had to say this. Well, these three people, and thankfully it lined up in a perfect row. How is it hard to believe when a human can grow inside a belly for 9 good months? Pregnant pause. You are trying to tell me that you're going to believe that a man can survive in the belly of a whale because man is gestated inside the belly of a woman. That level of illogical thought process defies all senses to the brain. You're talking about a natural process of how humans are created, how we procreate, to some foreign object being swallowed inside of you. So what you're saying is that when you swallow them roaches, or you swallow them spiders, or you swallow them flies, that them flies and them roaches and them spiders are living inside your belly for 3 days. They can survive inside your belly. That's what you saying. That's what you saying. Okay. That's just dumb. Just I can't say it no other way. That's just dumb. Just dumb. And then that would follow it up. And Cindy is a new person, started following the page here recently. Cindy is a true believer. Doesn't matter what it said, because Cindy says that, you know, that God can perform all kinds of miracles, that there's nothing that God cannot do. God can do anything. So whatever the Bible says that happened, that regardless of how impossible or implausible or stupid it might be, she's going to believe it because God can do anything. And if that's what you believe, then that's fine. I have no problems with that, which is why I don't respond to most of your comments, because you are well within your rights to believe whatever you choose to believe. And then, of course, the greatest defense ever in the story of Jonah is fish not well. Thanks. Well, that kind of just makes it worse. That you would think that he was swallowed by a fish instead of a whale. Because when you think about fishes, even though I know it's fish, when you think about the different fish species, what fish can swallow a man and a man survive inside the body of the fish for 3 days, right? No oxygen, stomach acid all around him. Name a fish. There is none. None whatsoever. And let me remind you that the people of that day didn't understand the difference between a whale, a dolphin, a shark, and any other type of sea life that swam and looked with a slender body and fins and things of that nature. They thought that a whale was a fish. They thought that a dolphin was a fish. They thought they all were fishes. I like saying fishes. They thought they all were fishes. So you are going to stake your life on the people who lack anywhere near the same amount of knowledge that you have today, and believe them when your God, who has not shown up today like he showed up back then, in a time frame where we have more knowledge of the world and more knowledge of science, in a time frame where it makes more sense for your God to show up now and perform miracles now, because man back then didn't understand how the weather worked and didn't understand how droughts and famine and plagues and things of that nature worked. So man back then just said, but God. Today we have an understanding. We know how the weather works. We know about atoms. We know about molecules. We understand viruses. I was going to say molecules because I was going to do viruses and molecules together. We understand these things. Now is the time for your God to prove himself, not back then. Back then, that's easy. If I went back in time with a library of chemistry books and medical books and all these things, and was able to build guns and predict the weather and all this sorts of thing, I would be a god to those people. Any amount of technologically advancement above what the people know would be perceived as deity. I would be a god to them. The biggest difference is that I would be a better God than the God that they got. Because all that essaying and all that genociding and all that murdering would not happen under my watch if I was God. That's why I always say I'm more moral than your God. I'm smarter than your God. Because I would treat people and I would teach them to be better. And I would treat them better. But y'all keep on believing in your big fish story. Y'all gullible as hell. That's for swampland in Florida, I'd like to say. Y'all have a great day. Remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.